Uh, Hi everyone. Good evening, and let us start from yesterday's lecture remaining the assessment of nutritional status. Okay, so let me know if you can hear and you can get uh, the presentation well viewed by you. So let me know if there is a problem. Okay, so in this presentation we will talk mostly this how just we would know the classification of methods of nutritional status assessment. So the assessment of the nutritional status of man or woman can be obtained by different methods. The common methods adopted in the study process or the assessment process would be the clinical examinations, the laboratory investigations, the individual people's cultural observations, or that means anthropometric studies. Some our people can gauge the database from the vital statistics, dietary survey, and some form of other studies where we say the national studies and the family survey. So they are the assessment tools used by many investigators to assess the nutritional status of men, children, women, and so on. So let us go one by one. There is the most commonly used methods may be anthropometric, family studies, laboratory investigations, or the clinical examinations. So these four studies tools may perhaps have uh, adopted by many resources to assess the nutritional status. In clinical examinations, it doesn't describe much, but it's simple the visual observation of the people. So for in this study, the sample size is determined to to which site to be chosen and how many number of peoples to be included in the study. So the sample of the population is clinically examined to detect signs of malnutrition. Simply the visual observation on hair, face, eyes, lips, tongue, teeth, gums, glands, skin, the nail color, the dentation on the teeth, or the pale or it is red color of the tongue. If the eye is dry or if it is glossy, there are many examples, okay, of doing the clinical observations. And clinical examination is relatively short, cheaper, and it is personal method of detection. Okay, if you go to the hospital, doctor first check you for the physical signs. They are called the clinical examination. And in this method, it doesn't require any kind of high tools. Let us see who is coming. Nobody. Manoj. Okay. And in laboratory examinations, they are the simple biochemical tests. Example, the blood test, the plasma albumin, hemoglobin, leukocytes, RBC, the urinary nitrogen, creatine, the urinary creatine, the blood creatine, the plasma retinols, and the blood amino acids, and so on. And actually, these laboratory investigations might be a sort of time consuming exercise and need special attention of the examiner for reliable results. And it may be expensive based on the type of biochemical test and can be applied in a small scale or in large scale, and it is adapted in many hospitals as the biochemical assay. Okay, so clinical examination you can do anywhere, but the laboratory investigations that would only be performed in sophisticated labs or in hospitals. So then let's go to the next. Another is the uh, so based on clinical or the nutritional status, the biochemical test, then you can identify the people is under the good or the poor nutrition status. For example, you check different body parts. And for good nutrition starters, there are certain strategies to be stated. And for the poor nutrition starters, there are some other strategy, other points to be stated. For example, for the general appearance, and if the or woman is resistive, alert, and in rest condition, it is called, or it is, you can name it is the good nutrition status. And if the man or woman is restless and it is totally apathetic, then it is the poor nutrition status. And other is the body weight, the normal for height, and this that would be the good nutritional status. And the overweight or underweight might be the example of the poor nutritional status. And if you take the body muscles, the arms muscles, the back muscles, if it is well developed and firm and with good bone, you can visually identify, then it would be the good nutritional sign. When the muscle is flaccid, it is too bony, then it is the symbol of the poor nutrition. Then for there are many many others. Let us say for lips, if it is smooth, good color, moist, or if it is dry, scaly, swollen, or chelosis, hartico, swollen, or the neck, there is no enlargement, or if the neck is enlarged, maybe the sign of thyroxine problem. And the nail, if it is pink, firm, it is good. When it is brittle and ridged, this is the poor nutrition status. So I don't explain it much because I am giving you the presentations for your final examinations preparations. So then other is the anthropometric observations and the secondary data. In anthropometric studies, the data of height, weight, skin, fold thickness, arm circumference, they are used. And if children do not get enough food, height weight index would be affected, or it is the sign of stunting. And adults without enough food would lose the weight and appetite, and overeating may lead to obese condition. So the to say the obesity and fatty, there are some definitions using the body height and weight index. And anthropometric measurements are the simplest expression of nutritional status. They are the simplest one. The other is the vital statistics. They are the country specific or the location or regional specific statistics expressing the nutritional status, the food security status. And so we have the national statistics division to state to collect this kind of information. The school children feeding program is one of them. Okay, then prenatal mortality rate, stunting rate, and morbidity rates, and the maternal nutrition rate, they would be defined in the vital statistics or many others. Okay, so vital statistics means this is the nationally designed statistics or collected statistics through the census. But in anthropometric observations, they are simply the surveys. Okay, then you know the meaning of survey and census, right? So next is the dietary survey. It is simple collection of dietary information. There is nothing. But instead of these, there may be other independent studies by different agencies that we say the national studies by many NGOs, by many local governments, or by many multilateral organizations. Let us say World Food Organization, World Health Organizations. They may be the other studies or the national studies or the international studies. Okay, so another reliable estimates of the nutritional assessment would be gained through the family survey like the anthropometric measurements. Okay, and in this method these families taken as the basic respondent. All a logbook is given to family, and all detail of the type and amount of food consumed over months or over a year would be collected, and based on these, the nutritional status of the people would be estimated. And in this method, you can set the selection of family as a random, it random. Okay, And the record keeping might go also for food waste, the food requirement, food consumed, and so on. Okay, or the economic investments over the foods purchase may also be included in the family surveys. So that's all about the remaining chapter from yesterday. Then let's go to energy status. Okay. Uh, then let's go to another energy measurement. Okay, let me see how many numbers you are. Ooh, 73. Gaurav Kharka. Okay. Uh, okay, let us continue to the energy in human measurement of energy and the factors affecting energy in human body. So this is simple that you know the terms power and energy are the form of energy. They may be either the chemical, electrical, heat, or mechanical energy. Okay. The chemical energy is the reserve energy available, total energy available in the feed, or sometimes we do express it as the gross energy of the food. Okay. Then electrical energy is simple. It is the energy available to activate our brain. Okay, brain pulse. The third was heat energy is the energy required that we know it is our body is warm, right? Then mechanical energy is the muscular energy that is used to perform the physical work. So they are the different types of energy we have in the body. So it is simple expression of energy, the transfer from one source to another. From if we consume the food in the form of chemical energy, it is changed to after metabolism. It could be changed to waste and release of heat, and the total energy produced in the energy chain other the given so carbohydrate metabolism chain would be about 36. Glycolysis 2 ATPs would be produced in Krebs cycle, maybe 2, and through the electron transport chain, that may be 32. And also the extra energy produced through anaerobic cycle of energy pathway the is 2. So including all, it may be 36. So aerobic cycle, when the energy is not made through aerobic process, then your muscle starts producing the energy in absence of oxygen. So it may be less efficient, but energy is produced. Or if you are running, if you are in sport, then sometimes the energy released through oxidative process is not enough. In that time, the extra energy is released in your muscles through anaerobic cycle. Okay, then you know the byproducts released in aerobic and the anaerobic cycle. The lactate is released, and if the lactate is concentrated in the muscle, then the body muscle pain starts. Okay, so this is the way this chemical energy transformation from to others. Okay, then electric energy, it is for the nerve impulse to set the pace of the heart, and another is the heat energy, and it is the production of metabolism energy to keep body temperature at 37 degrees centigrade. And the performance of work is associated with the production of heat. Even when inactive, an adult male must lose heat at a rate of 90 watts. That we say the basal metabolism. Okay, even in basal metabolism, heat is released. This is we lose the heat by 90 watts during rest conditions. Okay, then other is the why I already expressed the mechanical energy. It is a form of kinetic energy, and it symbolize the capacity to do some metabolic work and the muscle to be able to move and your muscles must be able to make some form of work. This is the muscular contraction. The kinetic energy in for the muscular contraction is the mechanical energy. So it is simple process. The energy would be measured in kilocalorie or in calorie or in joule. Okay, 1 kilocalorie is uh, about 4.2 joule. Actually, not 4.2. It is 4.186 at kilojoule. Okay. So if one, then the dietary energy are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. The vitamins would be the cofactors in the energy process, or in the protein metabolism, or in the fat metabolism, or in the carbohydrate metabolism. None of the minerals or vitamins are the direct source of energy. And just remember that the protein, fat, and carbohydrate would yield energy, but energy itself is not a nutrient. Okay, energy is not nutrient; it is the byproduct from the protein, fat, and carbohydrate in the direct meaning. So if somebody asks you, then you have to say energy is not nutrient, but protein, fat, and carbohydrates are the nutrients. And the non-energy producers are the non-energy nutrients are how to say this is minerals and vitamins. Okay, then this supply energy at the following rate. The protein, actually the 4 kilocalorie. It is not true always for the 4 kilocalorie. The range may be a bit in a range. Okay, from 3.5 to something 4.2 or something. The carbohydrates yield about 4 kilocalorie per gram, and the fat yield 9 kilocalorie. And there is also another source, you must be familiar about the alcohol. Alcohol would produce 7 kilocalorie energy. Okay. So then let's go to the basal metabolism. It is the minimum energy required at complete race to maintain the vital body functions. Okay, that means for the function of for the pulse of the brain and the pulse of the heart. They are the required energy, and they are, or we say, the energy required at raised for the minimum brain function and for heart function. That we see the basal metabolism. Or at the meantime, people would also lose the energy 90 watts per. Okay, then the basic metabolic rate would be defined like the minimal rate of energy expenditure per unit time by endothermic animals at rest. Okay, then it is also measured in calorie, and about 60 to 70% of the calories we burn every day is in the form of the basal metabolism. Okay, Suman Kesi. Then let us continue. Then the other vital body functions may be breathing, the blood circulation, controlling body temperatures, and the thrust will be more in summer. So basal metabolism would be increased in hot and summer days, and also for the cell growth. Okay, they all come in the basal metabolism. The simple definition is the minimal rate of energy expenditure per unit time by endothermic animals at rest. We defined it as the BMR, and the BMR we use every day about 60 to 70% of the total calorie we consume. Okay, then there are certain points those are affecting the basic metabolic rate. There are many others, but in textbooks they have been explained for limited number of titles. For example, age. If the age is increased, the basic metabolism decreases. This is why the old and aged people consume less over time, or during the day. And sex, and female consume, or the female has low BMR by 2 to 12% less than the males, and difference is more marked in older groups. Okay, तिम्रो मेल र फिमेल ओल्ड पिपलमा चाहिँ यो डिफ्रेन्स चाहिँ बढी हुन्छ. बट इन early stage, the female need less BMR than the female has the less BMR than the males. Then the climate then decreases on going to tropics. If the weather is too hot, then the requirement to food is reduced, or food intake is reduced, and the BMR would be also be reduced. And if you go to high altitude, the BMR would also be reduced because the food intake and appetite would are generally reduced. Okay, then the BMR would also be also depend on the race and the origin of the people. This is sometimes expressed as the minor cause of the factors affecting BMR. Although there are expressions that Chinese living in the United States have less BMR than American of the European origin. It is of a less minor cause, but there are some. It is one example. Okay, then how is the body temperature? If there is 1 degree Fahrenheit increase in the body temperature, there is 7% increase in the BMR. Okay. Then there is also the point these vegetarians have 11% less BMR than the meat eaters. Meat eaters. And the BMR falls after prolonged starvation, even for the meat eaters. Then there are also other factors like the hormonal reasons of increasing or decreasing BMR. If there is the man is suffering from thyroidism, adrenaline and noradrenaline hormone raises the BMR. Okay, and all of these, the sleep increases the BMR by 10% in rest. Okay, then next is the pregnancy. There are two lives together during pregnancy in the womb, and that means uh, the, the BMR might increase as more energy required to carry the fetal growth. Then other is habit of people. Then if you do some muscular exercise, gym, the BMR would be increased. And if you are sedentarized at home, if you look only televisions, if you look only for Facebook, you might require the low basic metabolic rate of energy. And drugs, I think nobody is consuming drug in your batch. And if people are using more caffeine, nicotine, and benzodrine, that may increase the BMR. Gonadili dere hanja. Okay, because the BMR would be increased. So here are some energy requirements. We just don't go mass to the table. Just for example, for child, female of different age category, and male of different age category, and for different activity levels. Okay, so for normal people of your age, maybe from 19 to 30, you need at least to consume about 2600 to 2800 kilocalorie per day. And if you are female of your age between 19 to 30 years old, you may consume about 2000 to 2200 kilocalorie energy per day. But if you are really active, then you need to aid by 10%. Okay. So they are the simple table. You don't need to learn all, just for remembering. See here also for male and female, if he is above 50, the BMR is reduced for all sorts of are the for active and moderately active sort of activity level. Then for also for men, the BMR, the energy requirement is also reduced, but it is always more than that of the woman. Okay, so they are the guidelines, and there are some effect of energy insufficiency on human health, and if the energy availability reflects the level of energy source on human health. The effects are malnutrition, insufficient or too much nutrient in diet. The reasons may be the pellagra, the kwashiorkor, the marasmus would be the examples of malnutrition. And there are other illnesses, maybe gastroenteritis, especially diarrhea and parasitic infections, would be expected during when people are malnutrient. and stunting the poor growth, maturation, the control of maturation, and the less interest of people in physical activities might also be related to less energy consumption. So others are the weakness, constipation, sleepiness, hair loss, and hair loss may be linked to mass to not only to energy but may also be linked to the micronutrient status in the food. Then other is the cardiovascular defects such as heart palpitation, fainting, and depressions would also be related to energy insufficiency. And other is decreased in lean body mass, underweight, and alteration of normal menstrual cycle in women, and high mortality and somatic defects on children, and metabolic disease and disorders, the mental retardation and neurological impairments would be expected, would be the signs or the effects when there is insufficient energy intake. So the four sources of energy, we know it is the carbohydrate that provide 4 calories of energy per gram, and it may be a portion of your diet up to 45 to 65% of the total calorie requirement. Maybe the cereals and the millets and beans and legumes would be the good source of energy, and it can also be obtained from low fat milk and dairy products, fruits, and starchy vegetables. Okay, the form of carbohydrate present in fruit may be fructose, and starchy vegetables also fructose, or some we say, let us say potato, that's the starch. Okay, but if it is the honey, then it may be the labulose, D glucose. Okay, then the source of protein would be the meat and the nut products, the green vegetables, and the healthy adults should get 10 to 35% of calories from the protein. That is almost equivalent to 100 gram of meat protein, animal protein, or 2 eggs equivalent. That's enough to cover the protein requirement in a day for a adult man or woman. Okay. So then fat is the highest source of energy, and fat may be either of unsaturated or saturated type. Unsaturated fat would be derived from plant sources, wild seed crops, while the saturated sources may be from meat and dairy products. The other sources of fat may be the nuts, walnuts, peanuts, macadamia nuts, okay, the vegetable oils, fatty fish, butter, fatty and margarine maybe, and fatty meat also. So other source of energy is alcohol. This is almost equivalent to 7 calories of energy per gram. Okay, so they are, but don't focus much to alcohol. That is not desirable as a source of energy. So let us discuss now. क्लास बल्ल आउँदैछ के छ आज चाहिँ अहिले सर्ट टेस्ट होला एनीबडी हेलो